Our universe is a weird place. A lot of things happen every day that we can't imagine, or they're simply beyond our imaginations. We asked researchers what will happen if Earth gets sucked in by a black hole, or what would happen if Earth spun twice as fast, and even what would happen if Earth cooled down. These events are unlikely to happen, but in this video we'll give you a glimpse about what will happen in these unlikely cases. Fasten your seatbelt because things are gonna get crazy. Let's start with what would happen if Earth spun twice as fast as it does now. Earth rotates once every 24 hours, and this is what defines a day. Everything else on our planet is spinning along with us, therefore we didn't notice our planet spinning. But what would life be like if it spun twice as fast as it does now? Will we feel dizzier or even survive? Or how will we cope our new life with shorter days and less sleep? At the equator, the Earth spins about 1,650 kilometers per hour. So if you stand at the equator, you will travel about 48,000 kilometers a day. Spinning twice as fast, we would lose half of our day, and time will fly by, making us difficult to cope with the change. Well, there's a lot of bad news coming, but let's start with the good one. If the world spun twice as fast, you would weigh a lot less than usual. This is because the centrifugal force on Earth is constantly trying to fling you off, but gravity is what keeps you grounded. When Earth spins twice as fast, there will be an increase in centrifugal force, making you lose some weight. Now is when things start getting creepy. Everything around you is moving twice as fast. Days are only 12 hours long, and you finally turn your television on to find what's actually happening. But sadly, your TV won't turn on, as there will be no power. Or even if you managed battery backup and luckily your TV will turn on, there will be no internet and nothing to watch. This is because all our networks, GPS, TV stations, communication channels, rely on hundreds of satellites orbiting around the Earth. Our satellites are synchronized to Earth orbit with the gravity of our planet, and this is how they stay in orbit, but when Earth doubles its spin rate, our satellites will be thrown out of the Earth's orbit. But who will even have time for TV when days are only 12 hours long, and you'll only get 4 hours of sleep instead of 8? Do you think your body will function properly with the change? When will you eat, go to sleep, go to work, or even have some time to watch our videos? Humans will have to create a new calendar, because instead of 365 days a year, we'll have 730, a seemingly long wait till your next New Year's Eve. Adjusting to the new clock will be tough. While for animals who hunt at night, they'll only have 4 to 5 hours to hunt, and anyone who can't cope with the change will face extinction. Our body won't know when to eat, when to sleep, and we'd be like cats, napping every time, going crazy in the middle of nights. Fun things apart, for humans, we will need to double our commute to and from work, as we will be traveling more often due to shorter days, and everything might need to be done twice. This will increase fuel consumption, greenhouse effect, and contribute climate change much faster. But why worry about climate when it is beyond our save? Extreme weather will be our new normal. The faster the Earth spins, the faster winds spin, and so do hurricanes. Deadly hurricanes and frequent raining will be our new normal. But wait, that's not the worst thing that'll happen to our planet. Not only will you have to be a storm chaser, but also a good swimmer in order to survive. As Earth rotates 3,200 kilometers per hour, the ocean from northern and southern hemisphere will get pulled toward the equator. Countries like Brazil, Colombia, Venezuela, Kenya, Indonesia, Singapore, and parts of Australia will be partially, if not completely, underwater, forcing thousands and millions of people to move out. You would notice some significant weather changes. The air would be heavy with moisture, dense fog, clouds, and constant rain would be the norm in regions near the equator. Furthermore, less gravity in the equator will create a constant rain and fog, and combine this with extremely powerful hurricanes, making our journey to the equator almost impossible. This means people in either hemisphere will be trapped there forever, and there's more to come. Man-made infrastructure won't have a nice time either. Pretty much every other building with a concentrated enough load pressures will come crumbling down. Dams and power grids will be the worst hit, leading to blackouts and floods at a global scale. Over time, due to a faster spinning rate, the Earth's crust will start to change its shape. The center of the Earth will bulge out, shifting the tectonic plates and causing massive earthquakes. If you're still wondering that humans will survive, then forget it. Even if our 12-hour days won't cause much stress, but the deadly earthquakes, hurricanes, and climate change will possibly kill us long before you imagined. Also, if our Earth spun twice as fast, it's not good news to our natural satellite, the Moon. Earth will start to pull the Moon with more gravitational force, slightly tweaking the rotational trajectory with our friendly neighbor. However, the Moon won't come crashing towards us, as for that to happen, the gravitational force would have to be high enough to make the Moon hit its escape velocity from its net gravitational force from other planetary objects, most predominantly the Sun. But it'll definitely start to inch closer. But what if double wasn't the limit? If you keep speeding the Earth up, at some point you could fly off the planet. That's because the centrifugal force of the rotation would be enough to overcome the gravity keeping you on the surface. This would happen at a speed of 7,888 meters per second, or 17,641 miles per hour. You would experience reverse rain, raindrops would move upward in the atmosphere instead of falling. If you push the speed to 11,000 meters per second, the Earth's crust would begin to flatten at the poles and bulge around the equator. Enormous earthquakes would rattle the planet, making it completely inhabitable. But don't worry, Earth's rotation won't increase anymore. In fact, Earth is slowing down its rotation slowly. 4.4 billion years ago, Earth rotated once every 4 hours, and during the time of dinosaurs, Earth rotated once every 22 hours a day. Earth's rotation decreases slightly every few million years due to the gravitational pull from our Moon. However, Earth's rotation is not going to be any faster in the future unless we get hit by a massive space object that we haven't seen yet. But then and there, we will have bigger problems to worry about. Let's just be happy that, for now, our planet appears to be spinning at just the right speed. So, next time you have a long day at work, be glad it wasn't any shorter. Our way of living depends on the rotation of our planet Earth. So thanks to our planet for being the way it is, and enjoy your every moment, 24 hours a day and 365 days a year. Deep underneath the surface of our planet, there's a collection of boiling liquid metals commonly called as the inner core. The temperature at the inner core of Earth is believed to be 5,400 degrees Celsius, which is about the same temperature as our sun's outermost surface. Scientists suggest 3 possible reasons behind it being so hot. It could be the heat from the planet's formation, or heat from the decay of radioactive elements, or it could also be frictional heating caused by denser core metal sinking into the center of the Earth. What if this sizzling core suddenly cooled down? Could living things survive with a frozen core? Or would our planet just become another lifeless rock in our solar system? Ever since the formation of our planet, the Earth's core has been losing heat, but it's still sizzling hot. Of course, no human has ever been to the center of the Earth. Scientists measured seismic waves to find out that our inner core is molten. However, for the composition, scientists are still not sure. Research from the planet formation suggests that our core is made up of iron and nickel. The unbearable heat is what stops us from visiting our core. Maybe one day we could visit our planet's core and find out that all our guesses were correct. It's believed that the magnetic field of Earth is generated from the spinning core. There are many things that make life possible here on Earth, and our magnetic field is one of them. Every second, Earth gets hit by space radiation and highly charged particles. Our magnetic field deflects it and protects our planet from radiation. If the Earth's core cools down, we might lose our magnetic field. Magnetic field not only protects us, but also protects our atmosphere. No magnetic field means no atmosphere. No atmosphere means, well, in short, our planet will look like Mars, and all the life forms that we know of will cease to exist. It's not the only thing that will happen once we lose our magnetic field. You can forget about navigation, as compasses rely on the Earth's magnetic field. Birds and animals will also suffer navigating. All our satellites will lose their orbit, and our everyday communication, electronics, will stop working. With no hot core at the center, Earth will start getting colder and colder. This will significantly drop the temperature of our planet. Well, on the bright side, volcanoes will stop spewing lava, as there will be no hot molten magma to spew out. Earthquakes will be a thing of the past. Our tectonic plates move due to the molten outer core, and with a cold, solid core, continents will stop drifting apart, meaning no earthquakes at all. You might be keen to find out what's actually hiding behind the core of the Earth, and this might be the right time to drill a hole to look out as Earth's core is no longer hot. However, we suggest you don't do that. Even though the Earth's core is cooled down, the pressure inside it is still enormous, approximately 3.5 million times higher than the surface. Anyone bold enough to visit the core? Well, remember those Play-Doh spaghetti makers? You'd be the Play-Doh. Furthermore, once our core cools down, geothermal energy will disappear. This will not only affect our energy production, but also make life harder to living things in the deep ocean. Nobody could survive on this Earth, but it would be more like the situation of life on Mars. But who knows if we can pack up our stuff and head out to our neighboring planet Mars before the Earth becomes completely dead. Well, one way or the other, if Earth's core ever cools down, it'll wreak havoc upon living beings in Earth. We should be thankful to the core for being the way it is, as it plays an important role for the formation of life itself. If the Earth's core was not hot, you wouldn't be here today, as all the life forms, directly or indirectly, rely on it for living. What do you think when someone says giant? Elephant, Niagara Falls, Mount Everest? Well, it could be anything. There are 4 planets in our solar system that are called giants. The largest of them, Jupiter, with no solid surface. Jupiter is truly a colossal gas giant, just filled with hydrogen, helium, and other gases. But what if we do something stupid and lit a match in Jupiter? Will the tremendous gas giant burn into flames and disappear? How big will the match need to be? Or what damage could this catastrophic event cause to our solar system? What do you think would happen? Jupiter is the largest planet in our solar system. Although it's massive, it's less dense than Earth. With no solid surface, Jupiter is truly a colossal gas giant, just filled with hydrogen, helium, and other gases. Hydrogen is flammable, and with 90% hydrogen filled up in Jupiter, you might think pretty much all of Jupiter must be flammable and ready to go kaboom. Before you buy a match and jump into your rocket to travel to Jupiter, there is a catch. Fire needs oxygen. With no oxygen present in the atmosphere of Jupiter, it is highly unlikely for Jupiter to erupt into flames. Jupiter is a ready-made thermonuclear bomb ready to explode, and all you need to do is light a fire. Here on Earth, we can easily light fire all thanks to oxygen, but out in space, it's impossible to do so. Well, if you don't have your own rocket to travel to Jupiter, you don't need to worry, as every second about 250,000 matches are lit, or rather meteors, and yet there's no explosion. In fact, fire is just an outcome of exothermic chemical reaction. When you apply friction to a matchbox, red phosphorus is converted to white phosphorus, which reacts with oxygen in the air and ignites. Without oxygen, this won't ignite. Hydrogen, which makes up 90% of Jupiter, is explosive only in the presence of oxygen. For oxygen to combust, you'll need half as much oxygen as there is hydrogen. And since oxygen is way heavier than hydrogen, the total oxygen you'd need would be 6 times of Jupiter. There's not enough oxygen in our solar system for this to happen. And yeah, sorry to disappoint you, but Jupiter won't be erupting into flames anytime soon. So, what if we detonate a nuclear bomb in Jupiter? How big of a nuclear bomb do you need to blow up Jupiter? We'll give you some hints. A lot. If you combine all the TNT that humans have ever made in their history, nothing will happen. In 1994, from the 16th to 22nd of July, a horrible apocalypse was taking place in Jupiter. Comet Shoemaker-Levy hit Jupiter, which gave birth to a dark brown spot as big as our home planet. The energy released by the collision was estimated to be equivalent to 6 million megatons of TNT, or 600 times of the entire TNT that human beings have ever created in their history. However, Jupiter recovered pretty easily. In just a week, the dark spot vanished, and after a few weeks, it was like nothing happened. So, even if you pack all the nuclear bombs and send them to Jupiter, it'll do nothing but disappoint you. Well, one way or another, if you could light Jupiter into flames, humanity, in theory, will come to an end. The fact is, the metallic hydrogen inside of the core of Jupiter will release 20 times more energy than burning molecular hydrogen. After the explosion at least, we'll lose our ozone layer, and all the living beings on Earth will cease to exist. Well, this is one way to end your life, but how would humanity end if our Earth got sucked in by a black hole? This video was sponsored by people like you. Thank you for watching the video. If you found any value in this video, consider subscribing to our channel. We have a lot of exciting videos coming in the future, so be sure to hit that bell icon to get updated. Till then, stay safe, and we'll see you in our next video. Goodbye.